What up, there? Welcome back to Whatever Waits Live, WoodSports.com. He's joined by Spinmo Rex,
Hello.
Chris, Nicholas Koloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick. Let's go. Get the cam on Caleb the Explosive. Today's explosive, because everyone knows what happens with a hot dog when you leave it in the microwave a little bit too long.
Yes.
Oof. Today you earned your dick day. Shout out. Anyway, back to the lecture at hand. So I was kind of just going off, first and foremost, just about the passing. There's just no fucking way in hell that Jared Goff should be, and not in the disrespectful way, but no way he should be throwing that ball 55 times.
No.
I looked it up, went back, did a homework. I believe it's 6 and 10 in games he's thrown the ball 55 or more times.
Yeah.
That's just not a recipe for success, especially here in Detroit, where we've predicated this offense. And he's the best play-action quarterback in the league. I've never denied that. But play-action is when you're faking the run. That's the purpose of play-action.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. There's no reason for that to happen in this offense. I don't care if the run's not working. You don't throw the ball 55 times a game. You still try to run it. Because they'll break one. Monty will break one. Gibbs will break one. Like, that's going to happen. You have to run the ball. And that's why it's not 100% on Jared Goff.
No.
But, I mean, he's a third at least. So
Into the chat, Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson needs to
You
be
have to
better
know
than that.
better.
Yeah.
That game is not going your way with throwing the football like that. Run the fucking ball. The running backs yesterday averaged 4.9 yards per carry. It's not that they're getting stuffed in every single play. At moments they did. In the red zone, there was a few plays. There was one play they picked up Monty and they fucking shoved him back like they're the mafia and he owed him some money or something like that.
Yeah, they did. That
Or
was
he was trying to
crazy.
get in the club. He wasn't allowed. Like that happened, but you still keep chugging. The little train that could chugga. We did it last week, man. Just last week. I don't know. And Vita Vea was gone the second half.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
There's no
And
excuse for that.
What
When
the
Vita Vea leaves the game, you should run the ball 10 times in a row.
Right in the fucking middle.
Right up the middle. There's no excuse for that at all.
What do you guys think Ben Johnson was thinking? Like, honestly, that's
wasn't.
got to be the worst game that he's ever been the offensive coordinator for.
Well,
I
we've
can
heard
terrible.
only assume is that with the amount of injuries they had in the secondary, that they wanted to go over the top and beat them vertically just because of the injuries and whatnot. But like, that's just it's not how we operate. And then the other thing too, and just real quick, Chris, because I want to get this out the way while it's kind of relevant. Why I got scared initially is I went back and let me pull up my phone so it could be accurate on this too, because I'm trying to figure out because it's 2 games in a row. Like a lot of people saying, yeah, it's one bad game. It's the worst of the 2 games. But in actuality, passing these 2 bad games. These aren't good games at all. I went back and just to see how defense played the Detroit Lions like the previous years. It go into 22, and I get Ben Johnson only there for like half that season. The Detroit Lions were only playing zone coverage 64% of the time. Go back to 2023. That zone coverage went up a little bit. You remember we eat in the middle of the field. Zone coverage jumped up to 70%. This year, these guys looking as bad as they have. Not great. I don't want to say bad. We have to say it was bad. 80% of the time, they're playing zone coverage. Specifically yesterday, cover 3, where the extra safeties are literally dropping down into the fucking box. I pulled Jared Goff's numbers. Most quarterbacks are better throwing against the stacked box. Jared Goff's numbers are actually worse against the stacked box. You want to know why? Those extra buys in the box.
Linebackers in the middle.
In the middle of the
Clog
field.
some shit up.
And that's where I got a little bit scared. But then went back to the tape that shared with you guys today. There's still guys open though.
Yes.
And that's where they have to learn. And that's why I have faith it's not going to be bad. But defenses are trying. They're kind of figuring it out a little
They're
bit.
figuring it out a little bit. They know the strengths. They know what this offense wants to do, what it's predicated to do. And so I feel like Ben Johnson is trying to get away from that a little bit because he knows the defense knows what they're doing. I don't care. Do it still. Stop it. Make them stop you.
Yeah.
Do it until they prove they can stop you. I don't care if they're giving you looks that look like they're going to be able to stop the play you called.
Yeah.
It's a difference between knowing what somebody's going to do and stopping what they're going to do. So you need to keep doing what this offense was designed to do, what Jared Goff does best, until the defense starts to stop it. Then you can switch some things up. But I thought that they were also predictable with their plays, designs, and formations.
Some bad plays were just fucking bad.
I remember last year, all the time, you wouldn't know what they would do. They would do the opposite of what you thought they would do. They'd bring in 3 receivers, and then they'd run the ball. They'd bring in 2 tight ends and a fullback, and they pass out of that. And this week it didn't feel like that. It felt like when you saw the lineup, when you saw the team that was out there, the situation and the down and distance, you could easily expect what they were going to do. And they showed you what they were going to do, basically. They didn't have any disguise of any of their play calls. And so that made it tougher. They still got guys open. Some of the play design still worked, but the offense never had a rhythm. So they didn't hit those balls that we normally see them do.
And just real quick, speaking of showing you what we're doing, I mean, just can you pull up either the heat map or Goff's passing bins just from like this year, just to give you guys like evidence. This is where the ball's been going.
Yeah.
Right around across the middle of the field or right around the line of scrimmage. You can't really tell in that one, but there's like a thick blue line towards the bottom there. It's like the second line up. That's your typical line of scrimmage. The heat maps are where the ball is going to most. And then if you want to do the percentages, when we go beyond that, you start leaving your success. The left part of the field is more green because Jared Goff's right-handed. You're able to whip that thing down there. It's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers eye patch thing. But we start going a little bit further than that, where we eat, it's not successful. Stop doing it. Or if you're going to do it, at least set the run so it stops them. And just to give you guys, to calm your nerves a little bit, can you show some of the screenshots of open Sam Laporta?
Yep.
And these are just 3 of them. I have like 6 or 7 of these. I probably could play the videos if you like, but
Here's one.
here's one. You see Laporta out there in the flats almost?
Wide open.
Yep.
All right, here's another.
That's where Laporta made his money last year.
Laporta wide the fuck up right
Wide
there.
open in the middle
He
of
was,
the field.
I believe that's Tim Patrick on the right, or Cleve Frame. I think it's Tim Patrick. And we got another one.
And then one more.
So like that's why you can calm down a little bit because this Laporta's open.
The plays are there to be made.
Yes, plays are there to be made. And I know Amon-Ra had the numbers. I know James had the 19 targets to get there though for Amon-Ra. I think it was like 11 targets for James to get there too.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I think a lot of this comes down to Ben Johnson. We've heard this before that he scripts not only he scripts games in advance, like multiple weeks in advance. He's already thinking about where the offense should be week 8 and the moves he wants to play. And we've heard that phrase iterated many times, and I think that's really what it is. We've also heard a lot in this summer. This is offense 401 of this offense, or this is version 401 of this offense. So I think it is him trying to force his hand there, but he's got to read it. I mean, I heard a stat, and it blew my mind that passing all across the league is down right now. I mean, you had only 33 touchdowns, only 33 passing touchdowns last week. That is insane. That is an insanely low number. People are running the ball, and the Lions are built to run. So I just don't understand it as a simple adjustment. And the one Easy and I were talking about was a play where it's a red zone trip. It's third down, and you motion Laporta to block instead of be a receiver when it's a passing play. And I don't know if it's just trying to again fool the offense and the defense and make them think this is a run play. But why would you take out your best red zone threat or one of your best red zone threats right there? So I just there was a lot of things that made me scratch my head with the game plan of this. It's not just entirely on Goff, but Goff also did not execute. He did not.
He
It was
also
a
threw
very
some
bad
bad
game for
passes.
Goff.
He did not, and that's okay to say. Like it's not okay for it to happen, and it definitely can't happen again. But Sean Belizean brought it up on Big D Energy. Like this team has a credit line now.
Yes.
Like they booked good faith, so we're not just gonna overreact. And I know some people are. I saw people on Twitter. I saw people in the chat all day that are freaking out and saying everything's over and being children about it. But that was me last year.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that this year because I've seen what this team can do.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Jared Goff have games like this before and bounce back. And Neil
think
said
about this offensive
it's been
line, too.
2 years since they've lost back-to-back games. This
Mm-hmm.
is not a team that continually shows bad habits. They see that, they get in the film, they fix them, and they make some things happen. And like Chris said, what Ben Johnson had been saying throughout the year, what Dan Campbell had said, that this is offense 401. It's a graduate level course. Maybe they should go back to offense 334.
She got a little too advanced.
Maybe you should go back to
Probably a little
offense
too freaky.
328. Have it be a junior level course, and make sure you're clicking before you take that graduate level class. So I think we need to simplify things a little bit, get back to what made us our money last year, and go out there and take care of business against Arizona.
And one
Teams
quick
can know
thing-
the middle of that field is coming, but that's the beautiful thing about this offensive line and having Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery is run the fucking ball in that situation. Last week they knew what was coming, play after play, and it's like the Marshawn Lynch thing. It's about over and over
Yeah.
and over and over and over because it doesn't fucking matter. We're gonna bully ball you because we can.
And that's
Stepping away from that was just that's not Dan Campbell football. That's not biting your kneecap off. We try to get a little too flashy there.
Bunchbach Hooligans says, Spenny, did the offensive line look off yesterday? Because it seemed like some of the issue. Yeah, they're going to look off when you throw the ball 55 times a game. If you don't establish your run and don't run the ball, it makes it a lot harder for the offensive linemen when they're constantly having to move backwards and they can't move forward and drive people. It makes it much easier for the defensive line and the defense in general to send stunts and send blitzes when they know you're going to be pass protecting every single snap. It makes it harder for those guys. You need to keep a defense and a defensive coordinator off balance. You give a guy like Todd Bowles with that defense 55 passes a game where he can pin his secondary's ears back and send the house, it's not going to look good. And that's what happened.
The other thing too is you got 5-man fronts, those 1-on-1 matchups, and this is where people will start to say some hater shit. But like, JT doesn't move; he's not going to recreate a pocket. So if you don't get the ball out real quick to the Laportas and whatnot,
Yes.
it's a wrap.
And two,
It's GG's.
Another thing too, if people want to, overreact to these and saying history repeats itself and all of that, to go to Sean's point about that's a bar.
No, it's not.
But it's not. Yeah, it's really not. But J. Cole thought he got it off.
He
J.
did.
Cole
He
thought
got it off. You
that
guys just hating.
But
Ass motherfuckers.
nah. That's a good.
Carry
album,
on.
though.
Carry on.
Anyways,
J. Cole's great.
anyways.
Future sucks.
To point to the line of credit thing, if you want to just go with the history and the trends of things, like, haven't we also seen Goff have that massive streak with no interceptions, but then what happens when he threw an interception? He jumbled quite a few over the next couple games. And then same thing last year when he had that little interception spurt in 3 games. Like, history, there's trends here that show you, okay, eventually he's going to get right. He's going to right this ship. So this is early in the season. I'd rather be now than later. Let's work these kinks out while you're figuring out the offense 401 and all of the. Let's have these bad trends now. Let's get them out the way. Let's build winning habits. Let's give this team reason to stay hungry and locked in. I don't see how you can look at this in a super negative light.